Yo everybody, what's going on? This is Keegan from Kman Reviews. If you enjoyed this review, make sure you hit that like and the subscribe button, and if you have any opinions at all that you would like to share, make sure to leave them down in the comment section. Dacian Miron, slightly mysterious, somewhat delirious. Dacian Miron is an up-and-coming singer-songwriter based out of Florida, someone who has reached out to me about a year ago with the release of his biggest single to date, Young Punk Mr. Rock and Roll, which does feature on this EP. Speaking of this EP, apparently this has been in the works now for around 2 years since before the pandemic started. Also, it's supposed to be a little something before a full-length album releases at an unknown date, which I will also likely cover. Not too sure if this is going to be just something to tide us over until the full album comes with brand new songs, or this is just a segment of the album split up into an EP format. Regardless, I'll be looking forward to it, but for now we have this debut EP to talk about, which also seems to be the name of the debut album, Slightly Mysterious, Somewhat Delirious. Let's dive right in. What are my thoughts on this EP? Let's find out as I review it track by track. We will start with the singles, with there being 2 of them. The first being the closer, Feelin' Dangerous, which opens up with these almost gothic synthesizers, all leading up to the explosion of the beat. It certainly sets the mood as the drums march their way in, making way for the guitar melody. The song is a pretty slow tempo, but it makes up for that in energy, really harnessed in the chorus, which reminds me of Sugar We're Going Down by Fall Out Boy, and only proceeds to amp up as the track progresses. Then we get to Dacian's voice, and let me tell you, he would fit perfectly in the early 2000s scene. He doesn't sound like anyone I can recall personally, although there are some glimpses of Brendan Urie here, but aside from that, he's not really ripping anyone off, which I can always admire. Lyrically, it seems to be about this relationship, but how it's written, it's just brimming with these punkisms, you know? Tasting poison on her lips, lustfulness, a very reckless type of love. Pretty good song. And the second and final single, my introduction to Dacian, Young Punk Mr. Rock and Roll, which was actually redone for a reason I kind of forgot. All I remember is that the original was much more rock-oriented, where this one opens up with more synths, creating this electronic atmosphere, which I don't hate, but it was a little bit jarring to hear the difference for the first time. Now it's warmed up on me, though. Small tangent aside, let's get into the actual track, and immediately this is much more of a banger than Feelin' Dangerous. The guitars have much more grit, the percussion is impactful with every hit, plus Dacian gives a much more invigorating vocal performance. But that chorus really sells the song. It's catchy, it's sticky, it's also very accessible. The track is just non-stop punky goodness all the way throughout. And these lyrics about getting pushed around by those who think extremely highly of themselves, but how the underdog can still win big. This is a wonderful song. Let's see how the rest of the EP compares. Now for the rest of the tracks. Opener Call It a Hustle Sweetheart, featuring Kellen Quinn of Sleeping with Sirens, is certainly a unique song. One of the most outright pop rock songs on the entire EP. Unlike Young Punk that felt fairly dense and compact, this one's almost the opposite. The instrumental is quite scant for a lot of the song. Most of the time it's just a steady drum with the keyboard, an occasional guitar riff only coming in every now and then to flesh out the song, like after the chorus. Vocals kind of become the star of the show as a result, starting with Dacian, who sounds good here, blending in well, but he does have a couple of cramped lines here where he blasts out a bunch of syllables very quickly, and those can come off as awkward, a little bit clunky, but still mostly good. And the instrumental strips back for Kellen's verse, and I think he does a very good job here. Such a passionate, soaring performance, very masterfully done, and the two together for that final chorus. That is lightning in a bottle. Lyrically, I get the sense it's some type of empowerment song, not listening to what people have to say, doing your own thing even if people find you a little bit weird for being so different, but you know eventually that they will all see. Pretty good song as well, not too shabby. The cure for sobriety is a bottle of Jack. First off, awesome song title. Secondly, best song on the EP in my opinion. Instantly grabbing with the pounding percussion leading into the first verse, and surprisingly calming down with the added shrillness of the guitar riff, slowly building up again for the wonderful chorus. It's got some exuberance, plus a nice tempo change midway through. Dacian's voice here is probably the best showcase throughout the entire EP. He gets a little bit deeper, quieter on moments, but the verses show his range and power. All these fluctuating elements really come together to make a very alluring track. Plus, I'd be doing this track a great disservice if I didn't mention this gorgeous bridge with the piano and string work. It really reminds me of some of that reimagining that Falling in Reverse have been doing lately, and I love that style. Lyrically, what I get from this is that alcohol seems to bring out this charismatic side of him, which molds him as he makes these bad decisions, and giving the audience a true show. Fantastic song, I recommend this one. And finally, Nightcrawlers Revenge is very pop rock, I'd argue bordering on just pure pop at times. There's a lot of synthesizers here, mainly present on the two verses, which when combined with the steady drum rhythm and the light plucks of the guitar, it feels very reminiscent of some 80s pop at times. But that's not the only reason why I get so many pop vibes from this. Dacian's voice as well is extremely clean, harmonious, even on the chorus as he sings some lines that are less than pop friendly, but it's very catchy. There's also a bunch of da-da-da-da-da's at one point where the track does gain a little bit more of a punch, and I think it's an appropriate amount and works very well. Lyrically, I was kind of expecting it to be about Nightcrawler the X-Men, but instead I kind of get this story of this very verbal relationship and how it kind of brings out these animalistic primal impulses, but that's just my interpretation. Regardless, the track still goes pretty hard. Overall, this is a very solid listen. Certainly not the full-blown punk rock experience I was expecting, but at the same time, I'm kind of glad it wasn't. We get some full poppy stuff on here. Some elements even go diving into electronic, and I'm a pop head naturally. That stuff's just going to resonate with me. But you add that punk undertone to it, this is some really good stuff. I look forward to the full length, especially if these songs are going to be on it. I'm feeling a 9 out of 10 on this EP. Well guys, hope you enjoyed that review. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.